Okay, so at the moment, this is what we have. Right, so let me just. Yes. Okay, so let's start. Now, very importantly, every page you design, right, always puts this. So this is home screen, right? Very important, right? Every page, right? So that um, um bots can easily read the title and you can easily have it there, right? To document the title. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do now is to I just realized that okay, so let me import my data right from that data set and we get this. So first off, let me console log to be sure that we're getting something from our data. Okay, so I can see my data. So we can see our data. Okay, so from our design, right? That's our template. So let's populate this our data. Exactly. Okay. So let's first and first. So I'm going to use flex and I'm going to use JUC and ITC. Okay, so my width should be full. Then my height. My height should be like, okay, so let me use 100 ph. Okay, so my background color, um, BG, let me use slit of like maybe 100. Okay, so that's good. So that if I put my card of it, it will be visible. So let me call class name and I'm going to do width of maybe 500 px. 500 px and height of so height of okay, so let me do mean height of maybe 500 px. So rounded MD, let's have border and let's have okay, let's have shadow. lastly, our BG. So BG would be white. Okay. So this is where our question is going to be. Okay. So I'll okay. So let me call it P tag, and this P tag would be um, question. So we'll have it there. So let me do by default. Let's have a P of maybe 4. But for this one, we would want it to be at the center. So first of empty 10. Okay. We'll give it a width of 4. Text to be center. Okay. Font should be bold, and maybe it should be bigger. Text should be like 20 px. Okay. So text blue and 50. Feeling like Poppins. Um, okay. Okay, so now let's start the real work. So to begin with, let me so I can see everything. So to begin with, let's first of all let's design the UI before we populate. Exactly. So let's do a div tag. So inside this our div tag. I don't know what we'll put in it. Let me put the p tag, which would be the questions, right? So here is going to hold questions. Okay. Okay, so we'd say like one the question, right? So let me do a spam tag, which would be like one. I think rather than let it be here, then this question should be here. So that anyway, it doesn't really matter. So we could just call class name and give it ml of maybe 2. So or on the contrary, just so this one should be arrow. So I would want to give it a width of maybe 50 px, right? If I do a color, because I would want our stuff to be consistent, so let me just do a light green. So 50 is very small. Let's see, 80. Saying, oh, you say? Mm. I just want my stuff to be fixed. Let's continue. Okay, so we have that, and let's work for the answer. So let's say options. So we're going to have this, and we would say M L to be like maybe 20 px. So let's say 20. Yes, 20 or 2. Yeah, yes. Okay, so our options. So let's bring it down a little. Let it start like somewhere here. So we're going to say empty. Maybe n as well. N is too much. Okay, so that's good. So that's going to put all our options. Okay. I don't know why my font is not taking effect. Let me see. Oh, okay, so I think I should push this guy down this question. So let's do MB to be like okay. Yeah, so everything should start from there. Then why this question here? Let me do MY to be like 4. Okay, or rather. Okay, so this is going to be our questions, right? Okay. Okay, so now let's start. What we're going to do now is to populate from what we have here. So we have an array there. So let me cut this off. We're going to say data dot map and props, right? And so and paste this. So if I save, this is what we have. Okay. So I just realized something, and that is thing from here. Okay. So rather, let me do 4, 6, 6, 8. Okay. So now let's have the right content here and all these number. Let's have the right thing. So for here we're going to do I, which will be number. So we start from here. So this is going to be I plus 1. So we have all those numbers. Yeah. Yep. I can hear you. Yeah. Like I don't understand. Yes. What? How is it? I study, but one is not too. Okay. Um, so now let's populate to have. So this question that is going to be props dot question. So we say we can see what the question is. So I would want the question to be well pronounced. So I'm going to say font medium. So I can see it from number. So this thing looks like it's even. That's not what we want. So in this option, the empty. Yep. So in this guy, I'm going to remove that option so that I can call what the option really have. So I'm going to say okay. So let's think here. So if I do props dot map and el and plus so if I should call this and I call so let's see what oh sorry dot option. Okay, so for some reason, I'm not getting. Let me just why So okay, so this should be valid dot let me see my data. So dot A or B or C or D, right? So let's say E. So we can see all the A's, right? And of course we can do okay, so if we save, we can now see our stuff, right? And this is what we want that is very close to, right? Okay, so we need to find a way to have our radio box in here, right? So let's do that. So I'm going to remove this, then pass input, then pass a repeat tag and pass this tag. Sorry. Then rather than this p tag, now so if I do this, we should see that's not what we want, right? So we're going to come here and say type equals to radio. So I can now see this. So let's make this guy flex, right? So class name flex. Am I too fast? Okay, so we have this now, right? So let me do gap. Let's pass gap of 2. Okay, so we have this. Not bad, right? Okay, so another thing I would want to pass inside here rather, would be sort of like capitalized, so that I would have the first letter to be. So, so this is not bad, right? Now, another thing I would want to do is now anytime we're using input and we want to refer more or less like we want to make a reference of it, it would make sense for us to use label, right, rather than like this p tag, right? So I'm going to change it to be label. Okay, and that's because with this now we can now pass an ID here and reference here, right? So that all the values input will be getting can be referenced to this guy, right? What is Sean doing? Give me the phone. What are you doing? Are we good here? So now, um, so there are certain elements we're going to pass in here. So let me refresh here first. So certain elements we're going to pass in there, right? So as to capture the value. So the first I'm going to pass is, so let me first of all change this p to label. Then inside here I'm going to pass HTML4. me do el, or let me do I, and that I should be this I. So I'm going to pass ID here, and the ID will pass I as well. So this guy is shouting at me. So let's go back take and pass I. The same thing I'll do here. Go back take pass I. Okay, so this guy is good. So let me pass this same thing. So save. Okay. So let's see. I click here, I click here. That's not it, right? So we can pass name this file. So this name, let me use I again. So let me use backtick and use I. Then of course my value. How do I get individual value? So this value here should correspond. So the value here. So I need the individual value here. Okay. So what's in my head? First off, let me try this. If this doesn't work, then we're going to pass. We're going to use condition. Let me see. So it doesn't work. So basically it's the value, right? We need to pass this value here. So no two value should be the same. So what I'm going to do for that would be, if I is strictly equals to 1, then let's this. So backtick this. So here should be 2. Here should be 3. Or rather, to start from 0. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So I'm missing. So what am I saying? There's something that is not closed. Is focus. So here looks okay. So let me see. If I strictly equals to 0, let the result is else. So yeah, let me see. Here got speak. this is B, this is C, and this is T. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so which is what we have here. Let's try again. I think the same thing is what we should have here. So it didn't work. Let's see. Have an idea of same props. Props. Okay. So these two guys can now communicate. So I can pass value this and this value dot a, and of course I'll have name as well. What other property I need to pass in? So this same thing I need to have it here, have it here, and have it here. So all a. So this is T. This is B. Sorry, C. And this will be okay. So let me refresh. So if I click here, still picking. So it's actually, so this value, let's change this value back to props.a. So the problem is coming from the name. So the name has to be different, right? So let me see. So now we have this as our name, right? So they can now be different from each other. Exactly. Yeah, that's what I want to do now. So let's map it up with this guy back. So let me uncomment. Guys. So for our name, we've already done that here. So it's okay, so let me copy what I have here. Control. This thing should work, right? Because it's iteratable. You get I is iteratable, and this is the reason why because each of these has to be unique. It has to be one. So I don't know why this input is multiplying itself. I'll check it out. Okay, so let's work with this, right? Let me just comment here, and let's work with this at least for now. my my data. So I would have much data here. Have you guys done yours? So let me populate here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me just start. Just do one and duplicate that one. So now that we can see that we're getting all our values correctly, so let me close here. Now the next thing we need to do is we want to check. So we're going to put a form. Okay, the first thing I need to do is we install this DAC or DC or whatever you guys will call it, right? So we install this guy. How are we going to use it? Yes, how are we going to use it? So if I click on C component and I trust they must have radio, so let me just do radio. So this is radio, and yeah, these are their several radios. I like the way it clicks, right, as against what we have here. So if I come to, so this color matches our color. I can't shout now. So to use it, all we need to do in our class name, we're just calling radio. So it's going to add, or we've already inject that dependency, right? Our plugin is just recalling it. So once we call radio, it has a class called radio. So let's see that. So if I come to this side here, where we have radio here, I call class name and I pass radio. Once I pass radio, this is A, right? I can't see any difference, but then let me just so let me just pass it across, right? So copy here, paste, paste, and paste. So if I save, then refresh, yes, it's still the same thing. So let me see if I've passed the okay, I've not passed the plugin, so that should be require. So require this UI. So once I save, I should see that effect. So loading. Yeah. Okay, so everything seems good, right? So this is our guy. But it looks too big, right? Okay, so to change it, um, let's come here. So I think I'm going to say dash small. Yes. Yeah, just the class name. You can see it's now smaller.
Can you change the color too?
Yes, you can. So if you come to the dependency, and I think um, so this is it, right? Dash. So once you call this dash, right, sm or dash md, right, so you're going to get different sizes. So you can change the color. So the black as well, we can change it, but it's I feel it's okay. Let's see. I think yeah, I feel so as well. So let me see. Okay, that's true. Let me try it. Yeah, makes sense. So let me use small. So we can change the color. I'd like to give it, let me see, BG. Um, let's use green. Green of 500. Let me see. Okay, so if we look at their, so radio primary. Let me see all they have. Uh, let's so this green is to maybe 700. It's your choice. You can use any color, right? But I find this plugin very useful and makes sense. You require the dependency, so make sure you inject the plugin. Yeah. Do you have this? Have you installed? Have you installed it? No, wait, that's not the focus. Let's go to the focus. So, guys, please let's focus. Let's stay focused. Let's start focus. So, now we're going to put a button here that says submit. Is that clear? Okay, so now let's do that. So again, if you come here and you search for button, right? So you search for button, you get several, right? Makes sense. So let's come down. That should be like maybe somewhere. Let me just duplicate this. So let's have 20, maybe 24. So div tag, then button. So in this button would say submit, right? Submit. Then we'll call class name. Remember, I want to use that guy again. So btn. So if we just do btn, to give us its own button, right? Makes sense. So remember that if I come here, so we'd see BTN primary. I kind of like this, which is this neutral. So BTN neutral, so that becomes to submit questions or submit answers, whichever, right? So I don't like the curve is too curvy. So I'm going to say rounded empty. So this is better. So this is to submit when I'm done. Then it should be fine. Okay, so those are what we need for the UI. So those are what we need for the UI. The next thing we're going to do is we want to capture the inputs, what they are passing, right? We want to capture it.
So you pass color in high.
No, but you can pass color. So I just do BCN primary. There's it. I mean neutral, BCN neutral. By now, you guys should know how to do all this now, right? Having a reusable component. So that's what's happening here. Okay. So the next thing, are we good? So the next thing is this value we're putting or this value it picked. The moment we click on this submit, we want to see, let's see what we've chosen. Exactly. Okay. So let's think of how can we have that. So at this point, this is where we'll be punching. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so now, okay, so first thing first is we need to know, we need to get the right answers, right? Let's get the right answers. Exactly. So I can say let's correct answers equals to an empty array for now. And this I'm expecting it to be array of string, right? So here is just going to store all the correct answer. Exactly. Okay. So um, let's get a way of getting all the correct answer, but then we know all the correct answer, which are these, right? Answer. So that means we can just go to new data.answer, right, and get all the answers there. But we need this thing to be done automatically, right? So let it loop through, right? Pick the correct answer and put it inside here. So for that, we're going to use our for loop, right? So I'm going to say mean, let I be equals to 0 and I less than new data dot length, then I plus plus. So this tells us the number of times this guy is going to run, right? Okay, good. So we can now say this new data number, it's rated by I dot answer, right? We want to push this guy inside this guy, inside this new answer. Dot push push this guy. So now let me come here and do console log. Console log is correct answer. So let's just correct. Right. So if this thing, right, so we can see all the correct answers. Does that make sense?
Yes, fine.
Okay, good. Now, once we've done this, we're going to find a way again, right, to get whatever they are punching here now, right, whatever they click here, right, to be in form of whether an object or an array, right, so that we can now use that, right, to compare what they picked. Is it here? If it is here, they are good. Else, right, we bounce them off. Exactly. Now, how are we going to do that? Who can try? Okay, so someone said look plus then an arena. Follow the arena. Let's say I say cons and do my options, right? So I'm going to call this guy. So let me spread state, right? Why is this guy showing me right now? Still showing right there. No problem, sir. Let me use objects. Then the next thing I'm going to pass would be um so let me pass E here, which will help me to target, right? Then I can now come here and say E dot target dot name and the point is I need the value so that it still maintain what is inside there. Okay, so what we actually wanted was to get did here is first of all observe the spread, or what we're clicking in the state, observe it. Then we're going to take e dot target dot name, or make it a value mapped to e dot target dot the value. Refresh. So because we've put that state inside this button, right? So if we click, 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 click here, and maybe click here. So once we hit on that, so this is our result, right? So we would see an object of our value. Okay, so that's good. Okay, so one problem solved. Abi? So the next problem is, how do we now, what's it? Yes, on click. Yeah. So this is an event listener listening to anything you're putting inside an input. So now that this has been resolved, so this is out of the way. So in here now, the next thing I'm going to do is, remember we now have value inside here, but let me take this guy up. So we have value inside, our state, and we have value inside our correct answer. So we can now make comparison of both of them. But observe something. What we're getting here is an object, right? Right? So that becomes an issue because we cannot make comparison of object and array. So we have to convert the object into an array, right? But the best place to do that would be inside here, right? Because this is where we can get a single item of our results, right? And make comparison with it. So what I meant is, so we can come here and check for equality, whether the first element that is pushed into this array, right, is right, whether it matches, right? We can do that then. So so we're going to say, so let's say if correct answer, right, I, which is the first element in that correct answer, right, is strictly equals to objects dot values, right? So what we want is, if we do object dot values, it's going to give us what data type. What data type is it going to give us? Sean. Object dot values will give us what data type. We return what data type. So now in that array we need, so would pass our state, because this is our state, is the one that holds it, right? So pass our state. Now in these our states, we need just the first element there. So we use I to identify what is our first element. Do you understand? Okay. So let me comment here. Don't worry, let me comment here. So we have this, right? You know what here would be. What here would hold. So if I duplicate here and do, let's say, results. So if we come here now and we do object dot values, and we pass our state inside. So we're going to see two arrays. First array is our correct answer. Second array is our result. You guys get? So first array is this one, right? Then second array is our result. So this is what we want to make comparison with the two array. You get? That's what we want to make comparison. So what we can now do is at this level here. So if I do this, I and I, right? So the first and the first. So was saying is this one strictly equals to this one? Meaning the first is it strictly equals to this, right? If it is, then do something. Do you guys get? Now for us to keep track of what it should do, we can come to, let me say here, and say let's score, which is a number equals to 0 at start. Then if this is met, then let's score plus plus. Let's score increase by 1. You guys get? Yes. So now let's console log score. So console log score and save this now. So you can see score is 2. So meaning only 2 is correct. Let's find that 2. So apple and this apple, because all the answers were apple. You guys get it?
We are saying something.
Yes.
We are saying if those correct answers, that is what we declared before, the has apples as the answer.
Yes.
It's correct with this one that we are choosing here.
Yes. So it will iterate. How many times is it going to iterate? The length of the data. And the length of this data must match with this. Right? And it must match with the option you pick.
Let me see.
So if the question is, let's say,
31.
31,
Yeah, it iterates till it gets to 31. So if the question is 31, you must provide 31 answer.
Okay,
likewise the option.
Eh?
Likewise the option.
Yes, now there will be 31 option for you to provide 31 answer. Anyone you don't pick, of course, that will be blank. That will enter as an empty object. I mean, an empty string.
is that going as an example?
You see? Yeah. So all what we had here is apple. So answer apple. Remember, I just duplicate everything. And it's best you just have something like this. At least that would make you know that everything is working, right? Then you can now start. Once everything is working fine, you can now go ahead.
Looking for the correct answer.
Anyone that is wrong, that's the else now, so it won't have one. So there are some questions where they would say if you fail negative marking, if you fail 1, -1 mark, you get +2. Do you understand? You can have something like that as well. You get, for every one you have, you get right, add 2. Right? So it's either you get or you fail, right? Then for the ones you fail, negative marking -1. You understand? Which is the else. You get? Because without questions like that, negative mark, right? It's very important. JAM does negative marking. Okay? I think man no go talk with Sam because I think JAM does negative marking. I think. Okay. I tell you though. Okay, so this is good, right? So is this clear? Joanne, is it clear? Okay. So the next thing we're going to do now is to grade. Right. First off remark. Let's do remark. Remark will be easy. So remark is whether the person pass or the person fail. Right? and you can say our pass mark is 65%. So anything below 65%, you fail, right? And all these international exams, which we say you guys are going to, as you and the rest, 70, you ask for 70 and above. Anything below 70 and above, right next year or right next month again. So that's the remark, right? So let's do remark. So I'm going to come down here. So say let remark be equals to empty string, then string. Okay. We're going to eventually put all these things inside the function. It's because, right? That's why I'm putting it here. So first off, we need to get what's the percentage, right? We need to get what a percentage is for this our stuff, right? So we need to get what a percentage means for this our stuff. So we could say a percentage. So percentage would be the number of like the number of questions divided by the correct divided by um, the total multiplied by 100, right? Yeah. So because we need that score, we won't put it here. So we're going to put it outside, so somewhere here. So remark. Let's have so now we can now say so let's say let percentage, right? Let percentage be equals to so we said it should be um, score, right? I mean score divided by what? The total. How do we get the total? New array dot length. Then multiply by what? By 100. So this is going to give us the percentage. So let's see whether we're getting it correctly. So always make sure that everything is working correctly. Right, so it's 33.33. Okay. So let's convert it. I mean, so that will be maths dot seal. More pity for them. Math dot seal, right? So what would that be? What would it be? What would it be? So we have 33.333. So math dot seal, what would it be? So what would it be? What would be the 33 multiplied? Shame on you. So gives us 34. Right. See? Exactly. Now that's for seal up, the rounds up, floor down, right? Round. Now that they talk about. So round is the one they taught you in school. Okay. So now we can now say if percentage, right? Percentage is greater than, let's say, 65. It's greater than 65. What should happen? Remark should be equal to what? Congratulations, you passed. Right, congratulations. Yes. Remark equals to try again. Try again next. Or you tell her I'll load you, don't load you. Right. So now let's see what our remark would be. Okay, so try again next month because the score is what 34. Okay, so we'll now do ABCD, right? Your score is within it now. A, else, B, else, right? Teachers, you understand? Okay, so yes. Not like the teacher, we already all these things we already do the maths inside. So what the teacher is just doing is imputing the value. I mean, sets the question. That's all they are doing. You understand? So the moment the student answer the question, and once they click submit, they'll see their results immediately. That's if we want, maybe they see the results immediately. Else, you don't need their report card dashboard. Yeah. So we can now say if percentage. Okay, so if you remember, so our A is going to be from 65 and above. So now we can now say if okay, so let's use, so let's say 0, so 0 equals to percentage greater than or equals to, let me see, 60. I know this thing will throw this red line. So what does it say? It said operation blah 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 is boolean and we're using it for a type of number. Okay, so let's just use, but it will still work anyway because this is TypeScript. It's because this is TypeScript, right? So it will still work. Okay, so what we're going to do for this is, let me remove here and let's start again. So let's say percentage, right? So percentage is greater than or and is greater than 0. 0 and percentage is shall less than or equals to 65. So if you score this, your grade, so let me, so this would be grade. So your grade would be what? Grade would be equals to F. So we have 66 towards 100. So for this, your grade will be E. So let's console log grade. So what should be the grade? What should be the grade? F. So we save that, score F. Right? But you guys will break it down, right? So I'll have A, B, C, D, E, F. You understand that? Okay, so let me refresh and let me get E. I know what it takes to get E. Right? So, exactly. Okay, so for some reason, so what is happening? Okay, so why this guy is crashing it? At this level, there is no heater, right? And we're getting the object, right? So what we're going to do is definitely everything from year to year will be cut off, right? I mean, and we're going to put it inside a function. So let's say undo submit, undo submit, and paste all of this. So percentage is the guy crashing and stuff. Yeah, so percentage is the guy. So that's because I cut everything and put them inside there, right? So percentage is outside the scope, right? So what we can do for that is I can take here. Yeah, we don't need them. It makes, would that be wise? Okay, we're not sharing anything outside. Yeah, we can still put everything inside. Is it? I know. Why? What I'm saying is, did we share any of these elements inside here? Right? No. Once we put that inside here, we cannot run all this anymore. So now we've confirmed that everything is working. It's not like we need them. And all this stuff would eventually going to put them inside. We're eventually going to put them inside the function, right? Or pushing them to the back end ultimately. All this stuff, right? So pushing them to the back end. So this now would now exist inside here. So we don't need here. In fact, we don't need here. Okay. So now once we punch our button, we select everything would be fine. Is it clear? Is it clear? I know there's a lot of work we handle today. It's normal, it's part of development. Any question before we move to the second phase? To the function. Before what? So step one, we iterate right to get individual items. Once we've done that, we now like so we now like get the score by making comparison. After that, we now look for the percentage, work on the percentage. Then after that, we find the grade, right? So very simple process. Okay, so let's go to the next now. Okay. Create so let me call it test dot txx. So paste it here. And close here. So call here test. So that I can call it inside here. So the idea for that is I can remove this, right, so that we can put something else. So let's work for the, what should I call it? Let's Right, first question. Test. Okay, so inside here we can call um, so just like what we did in the test, right? I want to do almost the same thing. Not like so. Let me copy from here. So here would be so let's say questions. So let's call here create create questions. Okay. So number one challenge is okay. So first off, let's create the form. So this guy has an input as well, which is good. This guy is just super cool, right? So, and I like the fact that it is lightweighted. Okay, so this is how their form look like. This is how their form look like. So let me just pick this. Just put input. Um, so we have this group. So let me increase here so I'd like to put two buttons here. So let me just come and copy. Okay, so I have this button. So okay, so let's do this on a smaller scale before we'll now improve it. Please everybody, let's pay attention. This is after 5 by 6 they might see this. So let's just pay attention so that will be fast. So um first off is I would want this thing to so let me do ML2 so I would have space here. Now first off I would want this to be like okay, so they type the question here, right? So we would now have another button here. Another button maybe another button here that says finish let's use BG3. So I'm going to say empty B20. Okay. So when they are done setting questions, right? So they can just submit. Okay. Now, so now, um, so they can have as many questions as possible, right? And they can remove questions. So let me. So this would be add, and this should be remove. So this should be error, right? So that they can remove, this question if they are not happy with it, right? They can remove it. But where our focus is on is how do we get it that they can click here, add question, we see another input field, right? So have as many input fields as possible until they are done. You guys get it? Right. So the first thing first is, so there are some papers that are 50 questions, some is 20, and so on and so forth. Right? They depend on the examiner how many questions they want to set. So the first thing we're going to do.
Having so many input fields, why don't you make it that it's just one input and question you write appear now? Do you understand?
Okay, so one input, submit, we'll see the question here, submit to send a question here.
Question has
Image. Okay, so how about the question has image? Yeah. And what do if they want to remove that question? Right. So what we're doing here is we're using this multi-input, right, to achieve that. Now, if the question have image, you're going to put that field, right, to upload that image. You understand? But if it doesn't have image, you go ahead. So there will be a button here responding to it. So let's focus on this now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the first thing we need to do is to come here and declare the question state. So let's say question state. Then set question state. And this is going to use our use state. And of course it's going to be an array. Now this array will take an object, and the object we could use question, right, which is 1. At least there must be one element, right? So I can now come to this card, this, remove it, then do question state dot map and passing props. So if we save, we won't say any different, right? We'll still get that guy there. Exactly. Okay. So the first thing first is when we click on this button, let it give us another input, right? So to do that, let's first of all write the function for that. So take const and go add questions. Okay. So we're going to use this our set state, right? So I need to observe, okay, so it's an array to observe everything that question state has before. Then the new stuff will passing or will be passing. But
The question is,
that's the question they will be filling up now when they fill up here. So what happened here? You see
how are we listening to the questions?
why?
Are we continuing?
Because when they click this button, remember what you state does. So you were adding when they click this button, we're observing everything that the state already has, right? And we are adding a new item to that state. Do you guys get it? So if I click on this button now, observe everything that it already has, what the question state already has, right? And add new one. Yeah, new inputs, right? So
You don't need that way to
now you say what? No, it will not save the old ones. So just add the new one you're adding. Yes. So let me save this. So if I click here, new button comes. If I click, new button comes.
Does it make sense?
Eh?
Does it make sense like
There are questions now. There are 60 questions.
like the structure like this, what I'm saying.
So how we see the question instead of the button?
Now, if you sit down, listen. You guys are not thinking, or rather, you are thinking, but think. If you're not pushing it to the database yet,
So you can see it like this.
I can remove it. This question here, I don't want this question. I can remove it. I can update it. I can change it. But the moment you pushed it, it's now here. How do you edit it? How do you delete it?
What I'm saying is, once you click on add question, then the question itself will show you like
Hey, that's what I'm saying.
Then
Do you understand?
There will be an edit button. Edit.
I just stressing. Edit. What would that one be editing?
It's not triggered to bash. You see the same thing with the other edit. Like edit. We have like
So this gives us room, right, to type in our several stuffs, right? Good. Now, so we add here. Once we click here, add, right? And so on and so forth. If you want to set limits, you can set limits, right? You can't go below because you can't go below. You can set all those limits, right? The question should be maybe 60 question marks, 100 question marks, right? And so on and so forth.
So is this obvious?
Exactly. Huh? Exactly.
Yes,
Okay. So the next thing we need to learn is how do we remove? Because we can add as many as possible, right? But how do we remove? It's just very simple. So first off, let me duplicate this guy. Yes. So here would be remove, right? So to remove here. So I can say cost items, right, is equals to this. So what's this? I am spreading everything inside this question into here. You guys get it? Because time has gone, that's why I'm fast now. No, I'll be asking you guys questions on how, why. Now, so we have these, right? So what we're going to use now is I want to remove here, right? So this guy should know that I am removing an item from this array. So meaning that find the index position of this place, remove one. So what method did I use? Splice, beautiful. So get the index position and remove that item. So to do that now, since we shouldn't play with this guy, don't touch this guy. That's why we spread this guy into here. Yes. So we can now say items dot splice. So to find that index position, remove one. Now I is shouting, so let's define that because I will be a number. Then once we've done that, we can now say set question to be what items. So this now will call inside here. So pass I here. So this I is, so this helps us to track the iteratable numbers, right? And I forgot, we need to pass a key. So now if we remove, that guy goes, we remove, it goes, we remove, it goes, we remove here, it goes, we remove. If I type here, I type here, I remove, right, so it removes, because I changes, right? So, do you guys get that?
Okay, if you want to like, let's say you have many like
Yeah.
and you have like questions like routine number one, pass, use this card, number two, and you want to remove that number one. You don't use that removing like
Yes. That becomes a problem, right? But there's a way we can solve that. We just want to do the fundamentals first. But what we're doing here is we're using I. So the value of I changes from 1 to 10. Once you remove 1, so it goes to the value of I now change, right, to 9. Right? So you just remove the 9th, the 10th, and so on and so forth. Is this clear? Now the next thing we need to do now is when we type here, let's be able to capture what we type. Right? So for example, if I click here now, I want to see what is being typed here. So to do that, let's come to this part here now. Okay, so I'm going to say on click, and on click, let's console log console log question state. So if I console log this guy and I punch yeah, so we see one, we see question, right? But we're not seeing any results, right? Like what we typed, we're not seeing it inside here. Right? And that's a very big problem because this thing here, we want to see it inside here, right? So what we're going to do to achieve that is, in this our input first off. These are input first off. We're going to pass value, right? And value is going to be, let me say props. So let me say props first. And we're going to pass name as well. So if there's any issue, we'll come back to look at it. So we're going to pass name. But most importantly is we're going to, so this will be props dot question, right? And I remember then we're having issue with name. It was name, right? So let me pass I here in our name. So that is I. So if there's any issue, we'll come back there. So let's do on change. On change, and these are on change. We have a, right. Then here we're going to pass in. We're going to pass this up. So at this point now, if I type, we won't be saying anything. So I'm typing. It's not punching or it's not creating. So let's create that function. Let me duplicate here. So this would be handle impute question. So first we need to spread this guy, right? Most importantly, we need to get name and value from here. So we'll be getting that from e dot target dot, yeah, e dot target. So at the moment this guy does not know what's e. So let's see. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so I'm not sure we need here, so let me just comment that. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say set question, which is going to be, so this would be items dot I, then we're picking the name, and that would be equals to value, right? And ultimately we're passing item in. So let me look at why I'm saying range. So question is explicitly, this should be fine. Let's see, elements. So I is the iteratable, then my name has to be that question, right? Let me, this guy shouldn't be shouting. Good question. Let's try that. So inside my input, I'm going to call this guy. So pass A and I and C. Let's see. So once we type this and I hit here, so if we look, we can now see our objects inside, right? So if I roll this and I type Joan, so if we hit that, we see two, right? So this is what, when we hit here now, right? That's what we're now pushing to our backend. Exactly. So now what you guys are going to do is, anytime we hit here, rather than we saying just one, right, we should say how many? 4. because it has to follow this our data. This is our schema. So enough for 6. Do you understand? 6 inputs. So once we click on add question, so the part for questions, the part for answer, and the options have to be provided as well. You guys get it? Okay. So we know that this is our schema. So let's come here. Say to one example. Only one line you need. Okay, so that's it's going to come from here. Yeah. The giver. That's something what they give. Just give him. That's how we don't come find out. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this side here now, right? So let me just copy this. So this is how one should be, but it doesn't have to have inputs or values, so they should all be blank. So that they can fill it up. So everything I have here, that's what would pass. Now, for here, of course, we won't be using one input anymore. So let me cut here and create maybe a key tag. So we'll have like 6. Let me just do 5. So we'll have all of this. So it should be well arranged. Well, by the question and the bigger, then you now have the answer. Do you understand? You understand, right?
Yes.
So now I have the question, then have all your options there. Exactly. So if I click on add new one, so we get this. See? Each question will have its own options. So you're having 6 input form, right? One is the question, and that one has to be bigger, right? And exactly the text area, right? Then answer, right? And then the options, then ABC. Did you guys get it?
So how many people are there?